welcome to Young Kizzy, the one YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red subscribe button down below and turn on the bell icon. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section.
Him, not simply because Hakainde Hichilema is saying the truth, but because he's the Republican president. That is why that office of the Republican, of the office of the president, we talk about integrity. That office of the president must always carry integrity. Integrity, forward integrity is about a man of your or anything like that. No, it is about having wisdom. It is about being honest. It is about saying the truth. It is about holding that office to its highest degree, because that office oversees the affairs of this nation. So when we say the office of the president right now lacks integrity, it lacks empathy, it lacks intelligence. Who am I? President Hakainde Hichilema does not even understand who he is. He does not understand that he's a Republican president of the Republic of Zambia. The only thing that he knows is that he's Hakainde Hichilema and therefore he's a politician and he was beaten. That's the only thing. That is why for 25 years, his message has been consistent, especially in Southern Province. And he has been preaching disunity for the last 25 years. Now imagine, since Hakainde Hichilema joined politics, that's why I wrote that article saying, President Hakainde Hichilema is a more in our political hemisphere. Because for 25 years, there are children that were born 25 years ago when President Hakainde Hichilema entered politics. Do you get it? There are people in Southern Province as I speak who are 25 years of age who have been listening to no other than Hakainde Hichilema. And for 25 years, they've listened to that consistent message to say, Vale Tupuma. If you are Tonga, Waikira Mkairo Road, Vale Tupuma. Now imagine this person is a voter now. The last 25 years. This young child who was born 25 years ago when Hakainde Hichilema entered political scene in Zambia has been consistent every time Hakainde speaks. Is listening to that. So the thing about Muchibe Mbaturan that Mupama Pamo Atu Direngoma. So HH has been consistently preaching these divisive words. He does not preach what led to his arrest. He does not tell the young people who were born 25 years ago to say, look, when you overtake the presidential motorcade, you put the president at risk. What I did was wrong, and since I'm president, I cannot accept any other person to do what I did. Therefore, that was wrong. That he will not tell that 25-year-old child who was born 25 years ago when Hakainde Hichilema entered politics. Analysis. It's been 25 years since this president that we have Hakainde Hichilema entered the political scene of our country. And for 25 years, his message is about division and disunity. And for 25 years, he's been preaching this message. But for 25 years, he has not acknowledged to say, when you overtake a presidential motorcade, you are in the wrong, you can be charged with treason. Me, now that I'm president, I have seen to say, you cannot just go head to head with a presidential motorcade. So that child who was born 25 years ago has not heard this message. But the consistent message that he has heard is that if you are Tonga, you come into Cairo Road, there will be Bareno Nama Naifi, and we were beaten. So that child for 25 years has been looking at Hakainde Hichilema, listening to Hakainde Hichilema, and what do you expect that child will carry for 25 years? He or she has been on earth. They will carry vengeance. They will carry hate. And they will say anything to do with the opposition like now, with the people that happen to be in opposition. their enemies, they were beating us. That is a message that President Hakainde Hichilema has consistently preached for the last 25 years. He knows exactly what he is doing. He manipulates, he infiltrates the mindsets, and he captures your mind. Hakainde Hichilema wants the Zambian people to now adopt this hate. I always give you an example that before we thought it is because they were rivals. It is because Hakainde Hichilema and ECL were political rivals. Okay? So, we all understood it on the basis to say they were political rivals. ECL did this to Hakainde Hichilema, and Hakainde Hichilema did this to ECL. So, we saw it in the lens of them being political rivals. Now, here's the thing. ECL is dead. Okay? Who was? Is Hakainde Hichilema's rival, right? ECL dies. One would think to say, okay, now that ECL is gone, is dead, Hakainde Hichilema now will be at peace. Hakainde Hichilema will preach the message of unity. Hakainde Hichilema now, will forget everything. No, not Hakainde Hichilema. Not Hakainde Sami Hichilema. He now sees, okay, ECL is dead. So who's next? Who this head that I have in me? Who is the next victim? Who do I pile it on? Who do I blame? Because the person I was blaming now is gone. So he's lucky now. I can't blame. If I blame the dead, the people will discover who I am. If I blame someone who's dead, Zambians will look at me and in the lens that they will discover who I am. So what am I going to do now? Who can this head that I have inside, this thing that I have, I can't help it. Sami Hichilema, I can't help it. Who can I now go? Oh, those two boys. Those two boys think they can challenge me? Oh, ECL is dead, so now those two boys think now they are big. Okay. I will channel this hate on them. So these two boys now, Bapie Chankusu. But it is not, I want you to understand that that Hakainde Hichilema was not even about ECL. For ECL, Hakainde Hichilema was jealous of ECL. And because of the love that you, the people of Zambia, showed ECL, Hakainde Hichilema wanted what ECL had. Mind you, I always remind you that when Michael Chilufya-Sata died, Hakainde Hichilema thought he would be the one to take over and become president. ECL came from nowhere. ECL came from nowhere. Beat Hakainde, even when Sata, I want to remind you that Sata entered into an alliance with Hakainde Hichilema. ECL was just a mere MP. ECL was just a backbencher. History is repeating itself. You have to see it. You have to understand that we are reliving the moment we lived when Sata died. This is happening, except it's happening on brand Mundubide now. Munkonke we know story. When Sata died, ECL was nowhere in the picture. Before Sata formed government in 2011, he entered into an alliance with HH. And at the time, HH wanted Sata to be his vice president. And that is where the calculator boy name came in. Because Sata was more experienced than Hakainde Hichilema. But Hakainde Hichilema was so hungry to be in power. So he wanted, this is how they fell out. He wanted somebody with so vast experience in government to be under him. Sata said, no. Let's go separate ways. So that alliance did not go any further. That alliance broke down. What happened? Sata became president in 2011. Hakainde Hichilema ran against Sata and Rupiah Band. He came third. Sata won against the incumbent Rupiah Band. So you can imagine, fast forward to 2014, there was no one there because HH became the main contender against Michael Chilufya Sata. Now, look at this. This thing that HH has, it was many years. It's from childhood. You got to understand what you're dealing with here. So now, 2014 Sata dies. HH thinks, it is my time. It is me to lead. Here comes this man who was just a backbencher, who did not even form an alliance with the, he was never there, didn't even run an election. I came number 2. That is where the hate against ECO started. If you don't know, the hate, Hakainde Hichilema hate toward ECO started when ECO became president in 2015 when Sata died. Because HH thought he should have been president because he was number 2 to Sata. 2016, when that was a by-election, when the general election came in 2016, ECO won. That was the all hatred. So everything that was done from 2016 to 2021 was carefully orchestrated, carefully planned. And 2021, fast forward, ECO lost an election. One would think, finally, HH has won an election. Finally, all these experiences HH has had, HH will lead this country to the best of his ability. All this he was talking about, tear gas, police brutality, lowering the cost of living, vision, ichimonwa, nairemkleta investment, chani, sola yala. One would have thought HH would unite this country. One would have thought to say, after whatever has happened to this HH, because he presented himself as a victim, 2017, HH overtook the presidential motorcade because it did not recognize ECO as president. So, all this started by HH because HH did not think ECO was deservedly to be Republican president. That's why he overtook the motorcade. That's why he never recognized ECO as president. So, but fast forward to 2021, HH wins. HH becomes president of this republic. And one would think that is the end of it. HH will unite this country. HH will govern according to our democracy. HH will not tear gas people. Okay? If you have followed me well, I used to say, and in my analysis to say, HH would have been much better having ECO on the ballot and beating ECO on the ballot again. Okay? People did not understand what I meant when I said that. Because HH's message, Mwebantu, even him himself did not understand why I said that. HH's message was solely based on what he experienced when ECO was president. This thing that he has now constantly continued to preach was solely based on what him and ECO were doing to each other when ECO was president. That is why it would have been so much easier for HH to win an election having ECO on the ballot. But mwaishwele sofwashta. Lesa ala senda motompwe. Akupoka amano. Yuole mnatofoleshta. Muri amano. But lesa will first blind you. So you see, this is why that prophet said that ECO is a factor. Because you know what HH now has done? HH knows that his message of, we were being beaten, the victim, cannot sell anymore. It actually exposes who HH is, because ECO is dead. I mean, how do you continue fighting with the dead? But you know what he has done? He cannot point at ECO to craft his message so that he looks like a victim, so that you give him a vote. What he has done, however, he has twisted the message. He's now looked at these two boys and gone to them and says to you, these two boys were Northern Province Minister and Eastern Province Minister respectively. They were beating us. You see how manipulative he is? He can't talk about ECL because ECL is dead. But he has nothing against Mundubile. He has nothing against Makebi. So what does he do? He twists now. He starts twisting slowly the mindset of the people in Southern Province. He wants the Southerners to see Mundubile and Makebi in the same lens as ECL. But he cannot campaign against Mundubile because he's got nothing on Mundubile. He cannot campaign against Makebi because he's got nothing on Makebi. But he can twist your mindset. And that's why I said this is a very powerful tool. Whatever you feed it, that's what becomes your reality. So HH has mastered that craft. So what does he do? He goes back into Southern Province. He goes back into Southern Province and starts slowly twisting their mindset. He wants the people in Southern Province to look at Mundubile and Makebi in the same lens they looked at ECL. So he says to them, oh yay, my people, these two boys, let me remind you, maybe you don't know, one was Northern Province Minister. The other one was Eastern Province Minister. When we went into Cairo, you would find Badeno Nama knife. They used to beat us. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, mention one person that was beaten by Mundubile. Mention one person that was beaten by Makebi. Parties trying so hard to manipulate the situation. Third President of the Republic of Zambia, Lev Patrick Manoa, says, and I quote, the problem that Mr. Ichrema has is that it is okay to lie. To show that you are not, as long as you get your intended result. You achieve your goals. The goals that Hakainde wants to achieve today is to manipulate your mindset, to look at him, not solely based on how he has performed the last 5 years, but to look at him in a lens of him being the victim. I'm here to tell Hakainde Hichilema, Zambians are tired of you. Zambians are tired of trying to us to inherit this thing you have in your heart. We can't inherit this hatred that you harbor in your heart. Zambians are tired, and Zambians can see through your deceits and lies. Today, Western Province. You've been to Western Province on multiple times. You've been to Northwestern Province, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, on multiple times. And the message is consistent. Don't vote for them. Don't vote for an independent. You went as far as going, lowering your level, lowering the integrity of the office of which you occupy. To now go against this young lady who stands up for our democratic right. Don't vote for that lady. I called her. Imagine a president calls you and you refuse. Just that statement alone tells you that you don't have a right to say no or yes to Hakainde Hichilema, you have to do as Hakainde Hichilema says. That is exactly what that entails. When he stands there and tells you to say, I called Iris Kaingo. Imagine me, a president of the Republic of Zambia, calls you and you refuse. I ask you to step down and you refuse. That statement tells you, the people of Zambia, that you've got no right whatsoever to say no to Hakainde Hichilema. The very man you, the people of Zambia, put in power. The very man for 20 years begged for you to put in power. Today he stands on the podium and tells you, you have no right to say no to me because I am president. That is Hakainde Hichilema. So, Northwestern, Western Province, it goes in, it preaches the same message, the exact same message. He says, and I quote, do not those two boys, do not those two boys, do not those two boys, do not, consistently. What do you think will happen to Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu when they enter Northwestern Province? Again, go back to the 25 years I was telling you, young boy, young girl, growing up, being born, 25 years, listening to HH. What do you think is going to happen to Brian Mundubile in Western Province? When he goes in now, it is time for him to go and campaign in Northwestern or Northern Province. The people themselves in Northwestern, God bless their souls, they welcome them. The people in Western Province, God bless their souls, they welcome them. But no, Hakainde Hichilema is pouncing. It's like this tick on a dog. He pounces all the time. It has to be his way or no way at all. So, you heard what the Nduna said in Western Province, that it is Rutswaniso. If you remember again very well, to tell you that this war that is happening has got Hakainde Hichilema's blessings. Before the elections, before even UPND were conducting their nominations and stuff, Liswaniso in front of Hakainde Hichilema, videos are there, says and I quote, we are not going to allow independent candidates. If you are not adopted, you will not stand as an independent candidate. This is on record. You have to understand that this whole thing, it's something that is orchestrated, carefully planned, and Hakainde Hichilema is aware of it. And it has Hakainde Hichilema's blessings. Because when Liswaniso stood there in front of the Republican president in a democratic nation to say, and I quote, we will not allow any independent candidate to stand if you're not adopted. Hakainde Hichilema who sat there listening to what Liswaniso was saying. Then marry it with what Hakainde is saying against the independent candidates that have stood. He says, do not vote for the independent candidates. Do not vote for that young lady that I called Akano Kwisanamu Itaine. For Gary even sent his nephew to go and attack him for him not to file in as an independent candidate in a democratic nation. So you have to understand that this, what is happening, is not accident. It's not accidental. It is a well-planned, orchestrated move. And President Hakainde Hichilema has given its blessing. So do not be deceived by the vague statements that he says. Tell me one who has been arrested since he wrote that statement on his Facebook account. A police officer was assaulted. They know who assaulted the police officer. He knows who assaulted the police. He knows who assaulted Gary. Tell me one. One person that has been arrested for what the UPND are doing today. No one. The police cannot even arrest the cadres. The Nduna court say it is Liswaniso that is planning this. Liswaniso said, we'll come for you. You will not campaign in Western Province. But again, this was the blessing of his boss. Because the boss constantly preaches disunity. If they come here, do not welcome them. Now I want you to understand. Again, I'll go back because I have to make this point. I have to emphasize this point. Hakainde will, and I quote, do anything to anybody who gets in his way. Because if it was just about politics and presenting your ideas and let the Zambian people vote for you, mundu ba brand mundu bile beka tile chingo kwa kaba pama problems ba kwete ba HH na ba Edgar Lungu. You understand? Ba brand mundu beta ba ikatile chingo kwa kaba because HH disliked Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu is gone. Umuntu fie. Uwa kwata udi omutu umuntu ngafa, you let go. You let go, you be at peace. You know that this person has gone 6 feet under the ground. Takawere. You know? But not the church. It's just trying to. Remember when the NRP UP were talking about ECL? ECL just 3 days ago was in Eastern Province. Lying to the people of Eastern Province in case Ashika Edgar Lungu kun. Adisha imbe chiri ndi murusaka. Eno aleya kuntuani kani. Mutu wala case court. Alela that yo. It's now protocol that Edgar Lungu should be buried in Zambia, in Lusaka, where the other presidents are. He goes in Eastern Province. He has no message. He starts lying to them to say, I will come and bury Edgar Chagwalungu here. Did HH say he has moved on? Didn't he say they have moved on? Why is he still talking about the burial of Edgar Chagwalungu? Why does he still want to bury Edgar Chagwalungu? That's what he said 3 days ago in Eastern Province. So now, when my Zambians, you've lived in this country. You've seen all this. You're witnessing what is happening to this country. By one man, by the way. One man. Look. Western Province, let me call a spade, is not Brian Munduro Makebi Zulu's stronghold. Northwestern Province is not Brian Munduro Makebi Zulu's stronghold. Okay? But these two boys, he calls them, in 4 weeks, they've shaken up this country. Okay? They've literally turned this, not Filaba Mutani ones that will turn this country upside down. No. These two boys have literally turned this country upside down in 4 weeks. That should scare any incumbent president. SH is a scared little man. That little boy that used to be beaten when he lost the cow, that's what he has been reduced to. Okay? 4 weeks of campaign. And by the way, let me remind you that these 4 weeks of campaign have not been smooth sailing. Have been met with resistance. The police and so on, they've triumphed. They've gone. By the way, the Electoral Commission of Zambia laid down where they should and should not be. They've followed the calendar of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. And as I see it here today, the calendar says they're supposed to be in Western Province. Why has HH destabilized their campaign in Western Province today? And what has the Electoral Commission of Zambia got to say about this? Now, here's the thing. And you know, the truth is, these guys are strong. Okay? That I'll give it to them. These people, Bra Mundubile, Makebi Zulu, NRP, UP, they're strong. Because what they have achieved in just 4 weeks is unbelievable. But at the same time, you got to recognize where you're stepping. You know, for me, what has happened today in Mongo should now make the two men reflect. And I'm talking this, there's nothing like biasness here. I'm talking this as an analyst. I'm talking this as looking at the way things are. There is no, what's the word? There'll be no achievement in trying to prove a point. There's nothing left to prove. But Brian Mundubile must understand that he has done it all for this country. There's nothing left to prove. Going into Southern Province will not prove anything. You have to understand that. This is your last place where you have to do your rallies. What has happened today in Mongo has proved that these people will stop at nothing. And you, by saying we'll go through this campaign into Southern Province and so on and so forth, you've got nothing left to prove. You've done it all for this country. You've proved it. Okay? And there will be no harm in you saying, because of the tenseness of the situation in our country, we're going to hold virtual rallies for Southern Province. And the reason I'm saying this is simple. Is because of safety reasons. Let me tell you about Brian Mundu. Maybe you don't understand what you're carrying on your shoulders. You're literally carrying this country on your shoulders right now. Maybe you don't understand. A lot of people are dependent on you being alive on the 13th of August, being ushered into office and changing the course of this country. It is not about you, Brian Mundubile, neither it is about Amakebi now. At this particular point in time, it is about the people. God forbid these guys will stop at nothing. Anything happens to you, anything happens to touch wood, God forbid, we're done. We are finished. If in them are fishing, we are done. I'm done. Everybody's done. Brian Mundubile is not about now Brian Mundubile. It is about the lives of the Zambian people that he's carrying on his shoulder. He has to understand that this time it's not even him. It is about this country. And the smartest way to go about this election, 1 week here, Shalako, is you going back to safety and conduct virtual rallies for Southern Province. And this is a challenge to the people of Southern Province. Hakainde Ichilema in 2021 elections, it was blocked in for Grande Shinga to go into Copper Belt. Hakainde Ichilema did not campaign in Copper Belt in 2021, but guess what? We, the people from the Copper Belt, gave Hakainde Ichilema a vote. Because we don't like injustice. Naturally, Zambians don't like injustice. It is now time for the people in Southern Province to prove themselves that they are indeed a democratic province. Western, Northwestern, they've proved themselves. They've welcomed, they've done their part. But at this point in time, let's call a spade a spade. From what we have seen today, anything can happen. And this period is the most critical period. Gamle fire. Let Hakainde have the votes in Southern Province alone. After all, he's been campaigning, has been voted for the last 25 years. Give him the vote in Southern Province alone. Let us now scrabble the votes in the remaining 9 provinces. At the bottom line is being safe. That's the bottom line. You have to understand the importance of these elections. This is not just an election. This is about saving this country and saving the lives of the Zambian people. So, I heard what I was waiting. I was here listening. Well spoken. Your message to the people of Western Province. How you saying you're going to carry on with this campaign? Perfectly said. But sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. Sometimes you have to recognize where you're standing. Sometimes you're not going to go into Southern Province and say, I want to prove a point. No. It is now the people in Southern Province to prove a point to the rest of the provinces to say, even when a church has stopped you from freely campaigning here, we are a democratic nation. We can listen to the message that you have preached in the 9 provinces. Therefore, we are one Zambia, one nation. The people of Southern Province, it's up to them to rise up to the challenge. Monfwa? It is up to now the people in Southern Province to rise up to the challenge. The same way the Copper Belt people rose up, the Northern Province people rose up, the Ruapula people rose up, Eastern rose up to give Hakainde Hichilema a vote, and he became president in 2021. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not start now saying, okay, with this that we are going to prove a point, they will tear gas us. Let's recognize the person we are dealing with. Let's recognize that a person like him and his desperation, like Mwanawasa said, they will do anything to achieve their goals. But Brian Mundubiri, I speak for almost every Zambian, every well-meaning Zambian when I say this, to say, hold back. You're not going in Southern Province and say, I'm going to prove a point that in Arifika Kunok Southern Province. The people of Southern Province, they're not blind. The people of Southern Province, they're not deaf. They can see what is happening. Okay? We all can see what is happening. We lost Edgar Chagwalungu. We cannot afford to lose you. Monfwa. We lost Edgar Chagwalungu. We cannot afford to lose you. The smartest way to finish this election is to go back and start holding virtual. You held a presser today. Your message was sent across. It's not for you now. It's even dangerous. Those things you are doing now. You said there were snipers there. I didn't say. You said there were snipers. Why then go? Now, you want to still take yourself there and hope for what? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen there? Because this that has happened, again, it is a test for what is coming next week, Thursday. In some of these polling stations, especially in Southern Province, I can guarantee you, they will put in people to beat people so that people don't go and cast their votes. Okay? But if we reserve this energy by doing virtualized and ensuring that now we do everything in our powers to man the votes in the 9 provinces we've been, and let the people of Southern Province bring justice to this country by doing the right thing. Let's challenge our brothers and sisters in Southern Province to do the right thing. Let's challenge them to rise up to the occasion and say it's one Zambia, one nation. One Zambia, one nation cannot be in 7 provinces or 9 provinces. One Zambia, one nation must be in all the 10 provinces of this country. So it is up to them now. The people in Southern Province, for 25 years, have been consistently voting for Hakainde Hichilema. Now they've walked. After voting for Hakainde Hichilema, what development has Hakainde Hichilema taken into Southern Province that Edgar Chagwalungu did not take? Tell me. Tell me, even the people in Western Province who understand, because what happened today was putting the people of Western Province that came to the rally at risk. You've done it all. Think about this whole thing as if there's COVID-19. Think about it. Look at it as if it's COVID-19. Where you cannot physically be present, but you can virtually be present. You can address the people of Southern Province. Do a virtual rally, Southern Province, Livingstone, Southern Province, Mongu, Southern Monze, Southern Province, Mazabuka, Southern Province, and it is up to the people of Southern Province to either continue voting in the same manner, which will just give us the truth that we've all been searching for, or it is time to rise up to the challenge and do the right thing. Let's not sugarcoat things here. One's about it's shinka chishinka. It is what it is, unfortunately. It is not safe. These road shows are not safe. This is the truth. You two are standing. It is not safe. If now you are saying there were snipers there, when you are doing these road shows, you are standing by the Pamur. What do you think is going to happen to you? Yeah? We don't want a situation that has happened in other countries where before an election we lose an opposition. No. Better safe than sorry. The Zambian people have made decision. And that decision is for everyone to see. In fact, if because you are not going to be allowed to go back to where you've been, what virtual rallies the rest of the remaining days? Across again, copper belts, last ones, virtual rallies within Lusaka. I don't know the advisors, but me, personally, if you chose me to be your political advisor, this would my in H folks that sugarcoat. And I'm not the type of person that will see either a president or whatever doing something and I say, Kaide, I cannot tell him Kaima president. That's not how I operate. Others will hate me for this, but it is the truth. I believe in my heart that it is the truth. I believe that what I'm saying, I speak for most of the people who are watching me today. They agree. We are in a very... You see, Edgar Lungu was different. Edgar Lungu alikuwa camping mumutima wakwe. That is why I always give a challenge. Any opposition that would have done to HH what HH did to Edgar Chagwa Lungu, I don't think that opposition would have lived to see the light of day. Just like Stephen said here on BBC Talk to say, Nikumbikuma countries you will not have seen the light of day. But Edgar Chagwa Lungu was a man. You are not dealing with Edgar Chagwa Lungu, but you need to understand the person you are dealing with. You need to understand. You need to see this man. Look, this time, this Kadoris that is bringing on his stage, it is to cover up his real HH. They're trying to soften image. He's dancing, amatako, twerking. It is all about public perception. To try and soften his image. To try and make you forget that this person can go into a foreign land, steal a dead body and conduct a post-mortem. If you think about that, then you will know what kind of a person you're dealing with. This whole thing, we all thought was about Edgar Chagwa Lungu. It wasn't. It's about the person, that little boy. And that little boy has not healed. And that little boy will never heal. And let me tell you, I saw about Koswe. Koswe is run by Brian Winger, McDonald Chipenzi. Oh, no, not McDonald Chipenzi. Brian Winger, Frederick Masivenzi. Watchdog is run by Hamasaka. Now, Koswe says to say we will deal with them after elections. What does that tell you? That's the language of HH. We will deal with them. If we miss this opportunity, I kid you not, the way HH operates, because of the way Brand Mundu, but Brand now shine HH manchancha. But Brown Mundubile now Bashanisha HH Manchester said that now the international community is taking a keen interest in our country. And now Brown Mundubile is this fast emerging opposition who's likely to take over government next week. HH was saying there's no opposition. Today he wants to reduce the opposition to those two boys. But those two boys have made him dance a manchancha. Do you know manchancha? That's what they've done. And HH will not. This is humiliation at its highest if you don't understand. This is humiliation. But Brian Mundu and Makebi Zulu have humiliated HH. So you think if they dare lose this election, they'll be safe? You think like that? Because when Allah and that will deal with you. They're not posting their violence. They're not arresting their violence. Don't you think they're the ones who are sending them? So when you go inside, what are you going to prove there? You're going to say, okay, we are here, HH is wrong. And you actually think that's the best way to go about these things. No. Every Zambian right now must challenge our brothers and sisters in Southern Province to rise up to the occasion. It's their time. We voted for HH. We rose up to the occasion. It's their time. If they want to vote for HH, let them vote for HH. But you know what to do. The people in Wapro, you know what to do. The people in Northern, you know what to do. The people in Eastern, you know what. Lusaka, you know what to do. That's why when that resolute thing came, I was very, first of all, I was disappointed that you can't even see that this is HH's gimmicks. He went for resolute specifically because he knows resolute filed in Lusaka and Copper Belt. So to celebrate that and start telling people to withdraw when you know that according to the Electoral Commission rules, you cannot withdraw. Withdraw does not disqualify you. So now you were looking at the lens of, oh, it's resolute party, forgetting that whatever happens to resolute party, it will affect the presidential vote in Lusaka and Copper Belt. When Brian Mundubile wins, those people will still be under Brian Mundubile. So what was that all about? Confusion. That's why for that day, the next day I stayed quiet because my heart was just breaking. I was so heartbroken, like you can't really see what is happening. Why would you even go there? HH, he knows he lost Lusaka, he lost Copper Belt. That is why Mwene is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And his attempt to infiltrate Resolute was to try and destabilize Lusaka and Copper Belt. But even that, now I feel one. Somebody says not just humiliating HH, but reducing him to a cheap street twerker. Exactly. Nefi Don. Imagine a Republican president. And this is where he has reduced himself to even go and attack Iris. Iris Kain. A Republican president. Just listen to HH talk and listen to Brian Mundubile speak. Who do you think sounds more presidential? Who? HH has been reduced to somebody who wakulakana Iris Kain. So you think he's happy about that? That he has to kwamba kurakana Iris, a Republican president. Na omwana kashi. So you see, we need in this country, we need to start facing the truth, even the most uncomfortable truth. Because that's the only way we can move forward. We can have an honest conversation right now about tribalism. I'll be labeled tribal. Me, who's pointing out tribalism? Those that are perpetrating tribalism will not be labeled tribalist. Me, who says this will be labeled a tribalist. And that's not an honest conversation. That's an excuse of a conversation. So, for me, I'm challenging my brothers and sisters in the Southern Province to rise up to the challenge. And if they really truly believe in one Zambia, one nation, for the very first time in the history of this country, let them rise up to the occasion and vote for Brad Mundubile, despite him not going to Southern Province. Let's see how that's going to play out. We've done it on the Copper Belt. We've done it in Wapula, in Eastern Province and Northern Province. We voted in 2021 for a change. To Brad Mundubile, if you are watching this live and if you are listening, sit down with your people. Try and analyze and scrutinize. Is this what this young lady is saying? This is not about you not going to Southern Province or what people were writing in the comments to say, oh, you are excluding Southern Province. No. This is about being alive. And when the people go to vote on the 13th of August, you'll be there searching your home alive. That's all we need. We need you alive. Remember? Me, you are real. If there's one person who's gonna be real and who'll be hated for being who she is, it's me. When I stand up for someone, I stand up for someone wholeheartedly. So, if you don't understand Brad Mundubile, we are all counting on you. So we need to keep you safe. We need to keep you alive.